On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, we're getting Super Bowl reactions. Is the Chief Kingdom beginning to crumble? Plus, we're going to build Bo Nix's house around him. What weapons do he need? Does he need? Which contractor will you choose? All that and more on the next episode of the Denver Bronco podcast. Well, welcome in, everybody. Jeez, get that frog out of my throat. Welcome in, everybody. It's a Tuesday night on the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, man. We are brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We're sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. My name is Keith Brugman. We got a good panel of hosts with us tonight. And, of course, we always have you, the posse, coming in here. Comments, questions, ideas, thoughts. Can't wait to get it started this evening. Already see you all jumping in there. But I got to say hello to my guests on the screen. I'll go ahead and start down below, down in the bowels, down there working hard. Kenny Kirkpatrick, maybe even coming in with a cold. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay, Keith, but I'm doing much better now. Cold outside, Maryland, 8 to 12 inches of snow expected. We got about 6 right now. Woke up to a little frog in the throat, cold inside. But what better? Nothing would stop me on a Tuesday night than to be with my good friends, Keith and Trevor, on the Denver Bronco Roundup. And, of course, the best posse audience in the world, you guys out there, and YouTube and Facebook and anywhere else you're watching.
Yes, YouTube, Facebook, and don't forget, recently added Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well, man. We love to get all the possibilities out there for you guys to listen, enjoy, be a part of it. I know I always enjoy it when the Rocket Man's here. How you doing tonight, Trevor?
I'm doing well, Keith. I'm glad to be here and to have a great, hopefully exciting episode for everybody. Everybody will enjoy the Nix house. We're rebuilding Bo Nix's house, extreme home makeover style. But excited to be here. And it's cold here as well. I think it's cold everywhere at this time of year. So 3 degrees. So it's amazing.
Yeah, well, you guys are getting it off easy, man. It's currently -9. I woke up to -25. It's been a fantastic day, if you can possibly imagine. It's always a fantastic evening when we get to say hello to friends like Mr. Michael Ronquillo coming in here and saying, good evening, Keith, Trevor, and Kenny. Go Bo Broncos, orange and blue hearts, mile high salute. Michael, stick around. We're going to be building Bo Nix's house, and thank you so much for dropping 100 stars. That is absolutely freaking awesome. Appreciate you so dang much, buddy. Got to say hello to Paul coming in over on YouTube saying, let's get a running back in free agency and draft. This loves running backs and is starving for one. This team loves running backs and is starving for one, I think is where we're going at. Oh, yeah, there. This town, he says, loves running backs. Got to say hello to Ernie Mays coming in here and say, go Broncos country only. A Bo Nix for 6 as well. Say hello to Roy coming in here. Hey, Horseman, and the posse. That's all of you coming in here. Graham's coming in here. Good friend over at K&K as well. Saying, hey, guys, and hello to you, Graham, over on YouTube. Oh, boy. Now we're starting to get into the weather forecast. So so it is. It's cold. It's miserable. It's the middle of winter. It's the way it is. But it also means it's the off season as well, man. And it just ended up happening, gentlemen. It just ended up happening just a couple of days ago when the Super Bowl finished out the end of this season. And I don't know. I was trying to remember who said it. It might have been Ernie Mays. If you remember, someone said this is going to be a 44-10 win for the Eagles. And I said, wow, wouldn't that be a game? Wouldn't that be amazing? Holy cow. Dang near pulled it off, man. Dang near pulled it off, a 40-22 Eagles win. Trevor, I'll go to you on this, man. First reaction that you watching that game, seeing it play out, and the Eagles being now the world champions.
Yeah, I think they were, we're questioning, the Chiefs and if their dynasties ended. Did we just see a new dynasty start with the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, that team is stacked on both sides of the ball. The best team won in this game. The Eagles' defensive line was just so dominant all game long, and that just goes to prove to me. And I think the Broncos can take a little bit of a, kind of a lesson to be learned as well. Continue to build that defensive line, because it's not just Bo Nix in the offense that can beat Patrick Mahomes. The formula is to get after Patrick Mahomes, put pressure on him, make him feel uncomfortable. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles did, and their defense was fantastic. I thought Jalen Hurts stepped up in a big way. Saquon Barkley, they just could never get anything going all game. Only 57 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs. I figured, Keith, that they would really put an emphasis on stopping Saquon Barkley and making Jalen Hurts beat them. And that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did to Philly, and Jalen Hurts also answered the bell. And so credit to him and credit to that Philadelphia Eagles defense as well for getting the big victory on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more things to what you already said. I'll turn it over to Kenny. I know he has some ties to this game and these teams that played. So for me, absolutely right. Defense, pressure, Eagles with four. That was absolutely astounding. When you start talking about Saquon Barkley and not getting going, but on 22 carries, if I remember correctly, they didn't abandon the run game either. Kenny, your thoughts? This Eagles team going out there, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I think there is a high percentage of the country that was pretty dang happy with the outcome, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. For those who don't know, I am a Giants fan, become a Bronco fan with everybody else now, being part of this show for, even before being on the panel, being a part of this show, part of my friend Kurt's show. I do follow a lot of the Broncos and enjoy the Broncos. So I did want, out of this group, I really did want the Eagles to win for one person, and that was Saquon Barkley. Always be a Giant in my mind. We did him wrong. Saquon did not do wrong by going to Philly. Spagnuolo showed why he's still the best defensive coordinator in football in my mind. I know what Fangio did, but Fangio didn't have to make any calls because the front four was getting to Mahomes. Spagnuolo stopped Barkley. Jalen Hurts made those plays that needed to be made. The defense won that game for the Eagles. That's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But another fellow podcaster, Kurt, I'll mention him. Let's Talk Broncos, K&K Sports Show, said it best. Like, this team is mediocre, the Chiefs, and we saw that in the Super Bowl. Kelsey looked old. Offensive line was bad. They really didn't have that playmaker. Xavier Worthy, he's going to be good. But DeAndre Hopkins showed his age. He's old. The defense was average. We're seeing a team that could be possibly taking steps backwards next year, Posse and Keith and Trevor. So I know you got some stuff for us, Keith. So just time to get excited, I think, in Bronco country. I really do.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think you start to see some chips in the armor, and I'll get to that, man. I do got to say, there's still a horseman out there on the trail. His name is Albert Knoppers. He's coming in here and saying, "Hey, y'all, have a great show." Hello, Mr. Albert Knoppers.
What's up, Albert?
Big salute to you. I'm glad that you were able to jump in here and getting plenty of love from the posse as expected. So it's good to see. It's good to see. Yeah, I mean, this Philadelphia team may just have shown a few blueprints, right, of what's necessary, of what's needed. You always are looking for that. Whenever you see a team that's you're going against, you're looking for the blueprint to beat them, and you're looking for the teams that had success. The Eagles have obviously had success. Don't forget, it wasn't that long ago the Eagles were playing, well, the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. And a lot of it has been made about it. If maybe the field conditions would have been a little bit different, would the Eagles been able to play a little bit better in that game? Would they have been able to pull off a win? And we'd be talking about maybe a different dynasty being born, and maybe another one not really having that much of a foundation. But I want to get into this, and I might as well turn it right on and right over. I'm going to start from the bottom up again. I'm going to go with Kenny Kirkpatrick on this one to start. Kenny, is the Chiefs kingdom done? Have we started to see it crumble and fall? Is it finally over? Is there a crack in this armor for other teams to get in?
There's a crack. It's not completely collapsed yet, but there's a big crack. And that big crack is the offensive line of this Chiefs team. We saw the Eagles front four destroy them in the Super Bowl. And that's going to be a recipe for teams like the Broncos with Benito, Zach Allen, Cooper. Maybe you go and get somebody in the draft. Maybe you go and get somebody in free agency, trade. Just say Myles Garrett's out there, but there's a recipe for success against this team, and it's to beat their offensive line. So the cracks are definitely coming, and age as well. So when you have an old building, you need repairs. I don't know if they're going to have the money to repair everything. I think we're going to see some cracks for sure, Keith.
Very good. A few cracks, maybe it's starting to expose into this into the house that is the Chiefs kingdom. Before I turn it over to Trevor, get his thoughts on this, want to say hello to another person, Mr. Phil McLaughlin, coming in here, dropping 100 stars, saying, "Good evening, Keith and Rocket Man and Sir Kenny. If Simmons, Warren, and Loveland are available at 20, who are you taking?" We'll take a quick timeout to answer Phil's question and then jump back to the Chiefs. I'll start with you, Trevor. Simmons is there. Warren is there. Loveland is there. You're sitting there at 20. What are you thinking?
I think you have to at least think about it. I mean, I think Tyler Warren, it would be a little surprising, I think, if he's still there. Loveland, I think that's kind of the range right now. We're hearing that he might go into in the 20 range-ish range, but Tyler Warren could go top 10. So, if Tyler Warren's there, I don't know that you can pass on him. I think he is the best tight end in this class, has the most upside. Now, you may not see – I don't think we're going to see a Brock Bowers kind of year from any of these tight ends, because you just rarely see that in year one. It takes time for these guys to develop and to find their footing in the NFL. But, if Tyler Warren's there, I think that you definitely have to seriously take a look at taking him at 20.
And Kenny, any choices there that you like the best?
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, happy birthday to you again. It was your birthday yesterday, my friend.
I was going to do that. Yeah, I forgot to mention it. Sorry. Go ahead.
I got to, I'm the new one here, so I'll say happy birthday to Phil. We all wished him happy birthday yesterday, but for those who don't know, Phil McLaughlin's birthday yesterday, 25 years old. Let's tell you do happy 25th birthday, Mr. McLaughlin. We hope all's well. Hope you had a great one. I was reading Trev. It's great that Phil asked this question. It's a great question. And I was reading Trevor the first mock draft I saw after the Super Bowl. And they had, and I'm going to watch more tape on him, Phil, before I give my exact answer. But if it was me, I would go Warren. But watch out for Loveland, because that mock draft on CBS Sports had Loveland going before Warren. And Warren going late in the first round. So I'm going to watch a lot of tape on Loveland, and I'll give you an official answer Friday. I'll give it to Keith and Trevor, the official answer, if I like Warren or Loveland better. I'll watch some tape tonight, tomorrow on him for you, Phil.
Very good. And Phil, yes, happy birthday, man. I meant to start off with that. I got all tied up into the question. I was going to say it before I started passing it around, and then totally blanked on that. But Phil, happy birthday. Just offhand, I'm right there with all these guys, man. I think Warren is probably going to be my pick there if I had all three of them staring me in the face. Still want to do a little bit more research, just like Kenny said, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that, and we're going to get into a lot more of that information in future episodes. Excited to do it. Michael Ronquillo, no sacks against the Chiefs with more pressure up front by the Eagles. And we are going to be a problem, says Paul Schaefer. Chiefs left tackle situation finally caught up with them. Reed and Kelsey should retire. And, for me, like I said, you start looking, and I will maybe get into this a little bit later as well, but the Chiefs have $13 million in cap space. And if you start looking at their free agents that they have available, I mean, it's everybody from their punter to their wide receivers to running backs to, safeties. I mean, it's like they've got a long list of free agents. They're not going to be able to keep everybody. There's just no way they're going to be able to keep everybody. So now I think they're going to have to go way back to the free agents, or not to the free agency, but to the draft, and really try to start pulling out some gems and start doing it really quick. Right now, I think there's some cracks in the foundation of this Chiefs kingdom. Then you start talking about like a Travis Kelce retiring, and yeah, he's not the same as he once was, but he's still that threat. He's absolutely that threat, and him and Patrick are on a different level out there on the field, and that might be lost. We don't know. That's up in the air right now. So I think there's some cracks happening there. Trevor, I skipped right over you, didn't I?
All good. All good.
Go right back to it, buddy.
No. So for me, I think there's definitely cracks in the foundation for the Chiefs, but I still think you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I don't think Andy Reid's retiring as long as Patrick Mahomes is still his quarterback. I just don't think that's going to happen. Travis Kelce, yeah, I understand that, but Travis Kelce hasn't been the same guy all year for the most part. I mean, it's just not going to, they have no gray there. They still have weapons. Rashee Rice has come back from his injury. You're still going to have Xavier Worthy, who they took last year back into the first round. So, they still have weapons there. And there's still that foundation there. As long as you have Mahomes and Reed, I still think the Chiefs are going to be a pain in the butt. They've drafted and developed real well on that team, both the offense and defensive side of the ball. They need to fix that offensive line. But Keith, here's the thing: even before this game against the Eagles, there was a formula there to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember, not this year, but the previous year with Russell Wilson in Denver. Remember when the Denver Broncos defense got after Patrick Mahomes, and that was the same dang thing that the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. I mean, the foundation is there. The formula is there to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You have to invest in your defensive line. That's why I think it's one of the more important positions to invest in. And that's why I think the Denver Broncos this offseason are going to have to reinvest in that defensive line to be able to survive against Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs. You can't just outscore them all. You have to play defense.
Keith, can I add one thing real quick?
Absolutely, sir.
This will be really quick. So, as Trevor alluded, are the Chiefs done? Well, the betting sites don't think they're done neither. So Super Bowl 60 odds already came out. Yes, Super Bowl 60 odds. Eagles are the favorite. I'm not going to give odds, but the top 6 teams, the Eagles are the favorite, followed by the Chiefs right behind them. Ravens, Bills, all tied with the Chiefs for second. Then you got the Lions and 49ers as your top 6 teams. So the betting public, Vegas, they think the Chiefs are not done yet neither, as they got them as the second favorite to win the Super Bowl 60.
There you have it, man. I'm not. I'm going to say it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think this is next year is going to be so contentious in the AFC West. I think that you're going to see the Chargers step up and be that much tougher. I think you're going to see the Raiders under Pete Carroll be tougher. I think this AFC West is going to be a lot more divisive than it has been in the past, and it'll be tougher for the Chiefs to just continue to roll out wins, especially within the AFC West. If they start losing a few there, they start losing a few of the other matchups, before you know it, they're right there in the middle of the pack with the rest of us, where we've all been at for years and years, it seems like. So, I guess it's exciting. It's exciting for, not necessarily to win upon the downfall of one team, but to, even out the playing field a little bit sometimes. The Patriots were fantastic having a ton of talent because of Tom Brady and his contract and what he was able to do. And it made it really tough to be able to go up against that team. And when that finally dwindles out and you have a chance, all of a sudden, you know, the Buffalo Bills can be an AFC East champion, you know, instead. So, you know, I think there's part of that on the horizon, I guess, coming is the best way to put it. So,
well, and the AFC West, Pete Carroll joining the Raiders as well. I mean, that he raises that team's level, that win total for that team as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. The AFC West is not going to be easy next year. The Broncos are going to have a good offseason to be able to keep up and possibly take that AFC West title next season.
Yeah. I think it's definitely everything is within the realm. Finally, everything's within the realm, man. So, I'm going to do it a little bit early, gentlemen. I know we got a big segment that we want to get into. I think it's going to be a fun and exciting segment. Kenny is fantastic in his ideas and what he's bringing to the Denver Bronco Roundup. So stay tuned to that while you listen to this. I need to tell you about Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets is your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. Once a nationwide company, now just in your backyard. Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming. They've been doing it for over 34 years. They know what they're doing. How do I find Morgan Trinkets? Well, they do amazing shows all throughout that area, Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming. We'll look for them at any gem, mineral, fair, you name it type of show, they might be there. But the other way you can get in contact with them is just head on over to Etsy. Type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. And bam, you're there. You're interacting with Pearl and all the wonderful items she has to offer. Also, if you're looking for silver, 100% sterling silver, you need to check that out as well because they have that on the website. All orders right now over $50 are shipped absolutely free. And with first priority shipping, all major credit cards are accepted. And I know there's an offer if you're spending, I believe, over $150, you're getting additional percentages off for Valentine's Day. Check out Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. today. We'd appreciate it so much, and you'll appreciate it too. Some amazing, amazing treasures you'll find at Morgan Trinkets. So, gentlemen, without further ado, Kenny, I don't know if we should have had a drum roll here. Don't have a drum roll, but I'm excited for this segment, man. We've been talking all off season, all these different ways that we could maybe upgrade our team, and you have free agency and trades and all this different stuff. I think you put together a nice little segment that kind of compacts it, at least down to at least one area, one subject. Without further ado, Kenny, knock it out the park, buddy.
Hey, Keith. Well, tonight, I would love for posse participation. So tonight, we've all seen that show, This Old House, public broadcasting, Bob Vila. Well, for those who don't know, I like to do fun, unique twists on different topics. So we're calling this topic Fix NIX'S House. And there's the graphic that Keith did some great job with the graphics tonight, and as always. And also the new intro, Keith, phenomenal. Love the new intro, the twist you added to that as well. But as you can see, Bo Nix's house needs a lot of fixing. So his offense needs some upgrades. So Keith, myself, and Trevor, we're going to be the contractors. And for those, I used to work in construction. I tell all my customers, so Nix is a potential customer, get 3 estimates. So we're all going to pitch our estimates on fixing our offense here. And we label each room, you got the wide receiver room, offensive line room. Well, we got rooms equivalent to rooms in the house. So we'll start with a small one, Keith. I'm going to start with the offensive line room. And audience, how you're going to participate is after each room, you tell us who you like best. Keith's company's called Maestros. Trevor's is Rocket Man's, and I'm Stepfathers. So you tell us which one you like the best, audience. We'll start small. We'll start with offensive line and work our way up to the bigger rooms in the house that need upgrades. So we'll start with the family room, Keith. And I call the family room the offensive line because you're a family. You're in the trenches. You're playing right next to each other, 60 minutes a game at practice. You're together all the time. So offensive line's the family room, Keith. And first round, I'll go family room. We'll start with you. I see you on the screen on the top left, so we'll go you first to fix the family room, Keith.
All right, man. Well, here you go. This is this is me. I'm kind of more in the middle of the screen on this graphic, but I'm going big. I'm going big. This could have been my pool area. Hint, hint to another category coming down there. The run, I guess you could say. But I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go get center Drew Dahlman. Drew Dahlman, for you who don't know, is an Atlanta Falcon that's absolutely been a stud in the center at the center position. He's at the end of his deal. He had a 4-year deal 4 years ago at the very end, and it's going to cost a little bit. It's one of my biggest spends right here. We're going to go out there and we're going to sign him to a 4-year, $55 million contract. Something like Lloyd Cushenberry kind of got just about a year ago, getting paid 4-year, $50 million. Got to get this guy an upgrade, right? But we're only going to pay him about $12.5 million that first year, man. We're going to backload that contract a little bit. It's going to get us a little bit further down the line. And oh, by the way, if this gentleman is kind of like getting back what we may have gotten to begin with, when we traded up for Javonte Williams with the Atlanta Falcons, we gave them a 4th-round pick. They selected Drew Dahlman, the center. He's been an absolute stud for them. We get him back on our roster, solidifies this offensive line across the board for any potential running back that might come into the room.
Excellent, Keith. And I did leave out one important thing is we are on the Broncos gave Bo $20 million to hire somebody to fix the offense. So we're on a $20 million budget. So just keep that in mind, everybody. You'll see as we go along, why some of these positions not going for the home run. All right, Trevor, I'll go next since I'm on top there. So this is the living room, family room. I'm not going as big here. Bo plays in the wintertime, for Bronco games. He's not going to have family over. He's going to be on the road a lot. I don't need a big upgrade here. I still believe you got 4 solid guys, and Luke Wattenberg will get better. I'm going to bring back a guy, Matt Pert, a backup. He knows Peyton's system now. He's been in the league for a few years. Why go and spend on somebody that's a backup who's not on the Broncos? So bring Matt Pert back, $1.5 million, maybe $2 million. And then the guy to watch out for, in my opinion, he had a nice Shrine Bowl, Drew Kendall. He's a center out of Boston College. And I'm talking 5th at the earliest, maybe a 6th or 7th round sneaky pick, in my opinion. Played for Boston College under Bill O'Brien. So that's a pro-ready offense. And offensive linemen in Boston College have done pretty well in the NFL. So I'm going to add with 2 small pieces, maybe go to, bargain shopping at the store and go get a couple paintings to put in the living room above the couches there. So Matt Pert, Drew Kendall, I'm going to add those 2.
Love it, Kenny.
Trevor, Rocket Man, how are you fixing the offense, the living room, family room for Mr. Bo Nix?
Yeah, I kind of like along the same lines as you, Kenny. I don't think Denver's going to have to invest too much into the offensive line, at least this year. You've already invested a lot. Yeah, Luke Wattenberg, he was fine for you. I understand the development thing, and then that makes a lot of sense too. But for me, I'm going to go with a developmental tackle. How about Holland Pierce, the offensive tackle at Rutgers, 6'8", 344. I'm trading up in the 5th round to get him. How about get a developmental offensive tackle for Zach Strief to develop, and maybe he takes over for Garrett Bowles. Garrett Bowles is not on a long-term deal. Here in a couple years, he can take over for somebody. Maybe it's Mike McGlinchey. So giving Zach Strief a potential offensive lineman, not too high. I mean, you're investing into him. I have 2 6th-round picks going out to move up into the 5th round to get him. But you have something there. You have the size there. I mean, you don't see guys 6'8", 344 just walking around. So if you can be able to get that into your offensive line room, talking about being able to protect Bo Nix, I think if you can develop this guy into a legit offensive lineman, the better off for Bo Nix. I think that could help Bo Nix in the long run.
Excellent, Trevor. Yeah, like I said, living room, not the flashiest of rooms, guys and posse, but we're going to get into the flashy, I think, with this next room. I think we start getting with the flashy. So the next room we're going to fix in Bo's house, Bo's going to show us his dining room, which, in my opinion, needs a lot of work. And, the dining room is going to be our running back room, guys. You want to feed the running backs. And, Ezekiel Elliott always said feed. Well, I'll start this one, Keith and Trevor. I'm going to give you two guys in my budget of $20 million. I'm going to give you a rookie, and I'm going to give you a free agent. My rookie is going to be a guy, Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State. I'm thinking 3rd round for him. I'm not going to go big in the 1st or 2nd rounds for my running back in this draft. Genty's going to be off the board. I'm going Ollie Gordon. 2 years ago was threatening Barry Sanders' single-season record at Oklahoma State. Last year, I think he fell back because the team was not good. Oklahoma State Cowboys were not a good team next year. This guy can be a force in the NFL on the right offense, and you draft him in the 3rd round, rookie contract, but you're bringing him in with the big free agent, in my opinion, in the running back list, and that's Aaron Jones. And he's your ball hog. Ollie Gordon spells him, gets to be the future back maybe of the Broncos, but this upcoming year, I give Aaron Jones 2 years. I'm going to say 15.5 to 16 million. That's approximately $8 million a year. I'm doing it. That's my big offensive guy to get for Bo Nix. Feed him the ball. We all know Aaron Jones when he was with Green Bay and most recently with Minnesota. He could be a ball hog and big upgrade and the expensive table and chairs there that Bo needs. The upgrade in the table and chairs there in the dining room that Bo needs. Get him Ollie Gordon and Aaron Jones. Go to you next, Keith.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going a little bit different route, trying to, give him an upgrade, maybe fix a couple of table legs, make sure they're not loose, because it seems like we've had some loose table legs on this dining room set. Haven't really been performing the way we want, especially when big pressure comes to this room. And we've been trying to find a little bit of a joker. And so for me, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a trade with the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to pull over Mr. Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders isn't going to cost me a whole lot. A lot of people think that he actually might get cut. So I'm going to take the very last pick I have. That's our 6th round pick, and I had it written down here at one point, but now all of a sudden I lost it. I have it off in my comments, I know for sure. But very last pick, a late round pick, and I'm going to go ahead and secure him in a trade. But then I'm also going to renegotiate his contract. It's not going to get a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead and put him on a 3-year, $15 million contract, only costing me about $5 million per season, and add a little bit of a little bit of love, I guess you could say, to this running back room. And again, just a way to kind of fix the table leg chair, the legs on this dining room set and tables and chair set, I guess is the best way to put it. To put it in your context, Kenny.
Absolutely. Love it, Keith. Love it, Keith. And I just wanted to, I know we get lost in the chat sometimes. Michael did send some more stars, Keith.
I did see that.
From Michael. Bronco's first season was 1960 and Super Bowl 60 coming up next year. If you take the number 19 out, Super Bowl 60 equals blue and orange hearts. Love it, Michael.
Love it, Michael. Love it. Can't wait, man. That I hope you knock off that 19 and it's Super Bowl 60. It's our, like you said, first season was 1960. Why not? Let's make it all happen. It's not coincidence. It's meant to be. That sometimes that's just the way it is. Look at the New Orleans Saints in the Super Bowl that they end up winning. Sometimes it's not coincidence. It's just meant to be. Hopefully this is our meant to be. Thank you again for dropping some stars, Michael.
Love it. Love it. Trevor, how you upgrading the dining room? Rocket Man's construction.
Yeah, so I have actually two running backs here that I have for the Denver Broncos. I think that you can go the veteran presence, which I think you always need a veteran in the running back room. But I also think this is a heck of a draft class, and I think that you should be targeting a running back in this draft class at some point in time. So I have Rico Dowdle as my first signing, 2 years, $14 million, $6 million guaranteed. Guys, I think that he gets lost in the shuttle a little bit. I just think that everybody talks about Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, but no one talks about Rico Dowdle at all. And everybody in Dallas that at least I've heard from, they thought this guy should have been the starter day one. He wasn't the starter day one in Dallas. I mean, 1,000 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, receiving yards he can catch. He's effective in the passing game as well. 249 receiving yards, 39 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 6.4 yards per reception. I mean, the yak yards are there, 590 yards after the catch. I mean, to me, this is a guy that I think would absolutely fit Sean Payton's system. I think that he can be effective in the blocking as well, blocking wise, and I think he can be effective running the football. He's definitely got that twitch to him. He's got the speed to him, and I just think that he would fit and help, the Broncos running back room, add that veteran to this room. I know he had one really good year in Dallas, and I thought about Najee Harris here and there too. I just don't think Najee Harris in the passing game works for what Sean Payton is going to want to do and blocking as well. So I think Dowdle fits more. And then my second guy is TreVeyon Henderson, the running back out of Ohio State. I think this guy's a stud. I think he's got a ton of speed. The injury factor, I know there's been some talk about his injuries being kind of playing a factor in his draft stock, but this guy's got a ton of upside. I mean, 5'10", 210. He's huge, and he's a guy that can be effective again running the football. He's got the speed that you want. He runs over players as well, yards after the catch. He's effective in the blocking game. I think Dowdle, for me, is a little bit more seasoned when it comes to blocking, but Henderson, I mean, he just does, a fantastic job just being able to get in the end zone. So those are my two guys, and I think two guys that can be jokers for Sean Payton in this offense. I think you don't need just 1, 2, or 3 jokers. I mean, you can have multiple. And Sean Payton being able to have that with Dowdle and with Henderson, being able to have Marvin Mims in there. Talk about playmakers for Bo Nix. I think being able to have 2 running backs that can be effective for you is going to be possibly huge for this Denver Broncos offense going into next year, if you can add that.
Well said, Trevor. Keith, can I hit the chat for a couple?
Yeah, I'm going to hijack for 2 seconds. Just a couple of things, at least on my side. It was pick number. I just wanted to let everybody know what I gave up. Pick number 210 for Miles Sanders. And I have him on a 3-year, $12 million with 2.5 on the first year of his contract. So didn't have those notes available, but that's kind of where I was at. Feel free to jump in now, buddy.
Oh yeah, I'll start with Paul since we're on the running backs. Paul I think Paul thinks Ashton Genty falls. Running backs always do in deep class. Michael giving Trevor a hard time. He's giving his contractor a hard time. He's saying pass on Rico Dowdle because I don't think he will fit what Sean Payton likes to do in Broncos offense. And he doesn't like the leftovers. So he doesn't like the food that's being offered on that table. So he doesn't like the cook. So he doesn't like sloppy seconds. Captain Mordican saying next year will be his 60th birthday, fellas, and as a Broncos fan since the 6th grade. 60th as a Broncos fan. So thank you, Captain, and go Broncos. Phil, on the other hand, likes the gotta take Dowdle Henderson route.
I think that's our first vote as a contractor right there, buddy.
Yeah. So we got one that doesn't like and one that does. I don't know. That's like the husband and wife fighting there, Keith. I don't know. On the decisions, we'll see who gets the final vote. Mm-hmm. Paul saying get 26-year-old Najee Harris. So there's an option that none of us had that we could take to account. And Captain, the last comment, Keith, before we get to the next room, Captain saying the Super Bowl this year is the first one I ever boycotted. I think some people did, Captain. I definitely think some people were tired of it. I don't know what the ratings were. I didn't look, but I'm guaranteeing it wasn't as high as last year's.
Yeah, I would agree. I want to rewind just a little bit to Michael Ronquillo to our last segment. He's like in Gray Zebal from North Dakota State. He said he could be the Broncos' future center for years to come to protect Bo Nix. And that's a big name that's been skyrocketing up boards after what he was able to do down at the Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl. It was a Shrine Bowl. Sorry, I get them all mixed up in my head at times. But a fantastic outing for him down there, and a great point by Michael on what he might have done to get that family room all shored up.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, Kenny, if Trevor wants to throw 2 cents in on Gray Zabel first, go ahead, Trevor. I just wanted to throw 2 cents in on him.
No, I was going to say I was thinking about targeting Najee Harris, but being that he's 26 years old and he wasn't effective in that passing game, I don't think he does fit what Sean Payton wants as far as that Joker role. And remember Jaylen Warren was actually the guy that was in the backfield catching passes for the Steelers. So that's the one reason I went a different direction. And you're paying $9-10 million for Najee Harris. If you can get Dowdle for cheaper and he can fit what Sean Payton wants, Dowdle's still 26 years old. I mean, you have 2 running backs that are 26, or one running back that's 26 and one's just like 22. I mean, that's pretty good, I think, for what you have. And I just think that Dowdle, just keep an eye on him. He's a guy that I think is getting a little undervalued for what he does and what he did in Dallas last year.
Yeah, my 2 cents on Gray Zabel, I think he could be a good pick. He's climbing up boards, but I just don't feel he's right for Fix Nix's house. Fix Nix's house, you need to get in this draft, needs, and maybe even on the other side of the ball, you got to address needs. I don't think center is a big need. You got 4 good linemen. I think Wattenberg or a small upgrade at center is the way to go veteran-wise. I don't want to bring a rookie in if it didn't work with these other guys. I don't want to try that route again. And he had a good Senior Bowl week, but his career, he's played against lesser competition. That's something to think about.
I agree, man. It's something to think about. It's going to take a little bit of a hit, in most people's eyes. But I think what he was able to do up against SEC talent down there, and what if he continues on this track, if he shows out well at his pro day, does well at the combine, you're going to continue to see a guy like him continue to move up the board. And the nice thing about Gray is he can go ahead and he can play any position. He played tackle to guard to center when he was down there. So really fits the hole that whoever you feel you have. If you feel like you're good at center, it's fine. Have him play guard. Probably not going to be playing a whole lot of tackle, but at the NFL level, but certainly can play those interior positions.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was going to say, I think that he might go higher than what Denver wants to take an offensive lineman. And I think he played so well in that Senior Bowl, especially when I've seen and being able to move around. I think that's only going to help, hype his game up a little bit more for teams. So that's why I think that maybe he's able and may not be the Broncos' choice there. I think they have other needs early on in the draft, and he just may go earlier than what they preferred to take as positional wise.
Could be your trade back that you never see the Broncos do. Somebody want Gray Zabel. All right, we got a fun one now. This is definitely a room that is going to be a fun room, and definitely a room that needs to be upgraded for sure. And that's calling this the game room / man cave, and that's wide receiver / tight ends. However you want to do it, you can pick either a wide receiver and or a tight end. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. You'll see. We're going to put it up on the screen now for you. We'll go down. We'll start at the bottom and go up on this one. So I'll go Trevor first on this one.
Yeah, so for me, I have wide receiver and tight ends here. I just think Denver's going to add a veteran wide receiver in this room. I don't know that they're going to want to add somebody with, big price-wise, like a Chris Godwin or T. Higgins, because I don't know if they want to block some of their young guys they have. But Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, 6'2", 211, he was huge last year for Tennessee. I mean, 9 touchdowns. He led that team in touchdowns last year, 32 receptions, 497 yards. He's a veteran. I got him on a cheap deal, 2 years, $8 million. $3 million guaranteed. I think this would be a nice fit for Denver. He's also a blocking wide receiver. So you're not just having to have little Jordan Humphrey be that big, that best blocking wide receiver that you have in Denver. You have a guy that's able to block and committed to blocking as well as catching passes downfield. So I think Nick Westbrook-Ikhine would be a nice add for Denver, a solid, free agent signing for this team. Because I think Denver is going to add a veteran wide receiver, just maybe not a high price one, maybe a lower priced wide receiver, a veteran wide receiver in this room, along with Cortland Sutton. And then I have tight ends, moving the tight ends. I also have them going off after Austin Hooper 6'4", 254. It's 1 year deal, $5 million, $3 million guaranteed. Had 476 yards and 3 touchdowns last year in New England. And it's caught 76% of his passes last year. Targeted 59 times and had 45 receptions. I mean, I think Austin Hooper would be a nice addition to this team. I think Keith knows this as well. Kenny, you might, and some of the posse might. Well, I was high on Austin Hooper last year. I wanted Austin Hooper in Denver. I thought he would have been an upgrade in this tight end room for Denver. He gives them a nice veteran. You're not breaking the bank for some of these guys. Gesicki, I like Gesicki, but the blocking wise, it's not really there, the inline blocking that you want. And I think Austin Hooper can do a little bit of both worlds, being that inline blocker while also being a pass catching threat for teams downfield. And he's worked with young quarterbacks. He worked with Drake May last year, so he knows what it takes to try to help mold these quarterbacks into possibly being great. And then, of course, my last one here is Mason Taylor, taken in the second round, 6'5", 255 out of LSU. I like Mason Taylor. I mean, he's the son of Jason Taylor. I think that there's definitely something to that, being that they're in the same family. This guy, I have no doubt that he's going to love football. He's going to grind to be where he wants to be. I like him as an inline tight end. I think he can be a vertical pass catching threat downfield as well, while also committing to being a better blocker. I think there's upside there, and I mean, he just catches my eye every time I watch him on film. So you can get him again, day 2 pick. You don't have to maybe take a tight end in the first round. So those are kind of the weapons I think would be available here for Denver, and these couple guys they should take. And a lot of guys maybe that people are not talking about, but that's what the Broncos were used to last year when they picked up Malcolm Roach. Who was talking Malcolm Roach? So some of these under the line guys are not getting talked about. Watch for those guys, because those guys make a big difference, as we've seen this past season for the Denver Broncos.
Well said, Trevor. I'll go to Keith next. He's got a big name on there.
Yeah. Actually, before I jump into my name, I got to get over to Phil, man. He's in here. He's dropping 100 stars, and he has a question that's right in line with what we're talking about, though. If the Bengals are looking at Loveland, do we trade up with the Cardinals to get him? We give a 20 and a third and a 6 to get to 16 and a 5th. Kenny, I'll go to you on that one first. We're giving up the 20th and a third and a 6th, but we get back the 16 and a 5th round pick, and we get the opportunity to pick up Loveland with obviously with that number 16 overall pick. Are you taking that trade, or are you going after Loveland?
Good question, Phil. I'll answer it the best I can in short, and it's simple. If George Payton and Sean Payton have Loveland ranked higher than Warren, and by a decent amount, Loveland's the best guy over these other guys that were, in our opinions, and our opinions don't matter. It's what the Broncos, executives, the GM, what their opinions are. But in our opinions, we feel there's a lot of good guys bottled up together that you can get in second round or even third round. But if they like Loveland that much better than Warren, yes, by all means, you make that trade, Phil.
I'll give you my short answer. I don't think so, and I'm kind of more in line with what I think Paul's saying a little bit later here. I'll maybe drop his comment in. I think we need the picks, and I don't think this is the place that you trade the picks up for a Loveland in a deep tight end class. That's my 2 cents, and I'm going to go move it on to Trevor and let him give you his 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how much they love Loveland. I guess you could say that and try to say that twice in a row. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I just think that there's a lot of depth in this class, and I don't want to give up my third round pick. I just don't. I think that that's the value for running backs in this class, day 2 picks. If anything, I'm looking to trade back. I want more picks to be able to throw at the board, and I think, like Kenny said earlier, the Broncos haven't done that since believe 2019 was the last time they moved back. And so I just think that if you can do that, I think the better off you'll be. There's a lot of depth in this class that this team could use, a lot of different positions they could use upgrades at and get younger at, get those rookie contracts on. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to move back, but it just depends on how much they love Loveland, where they rank him compared to the other tight ends in day 2, like Mason Taylor and a lot of those guys.
There you go. A lot of people wanting in there. No, Loveland is a reach at 20. We need our early picks. Ernie Mays coming in there and saying we keep our picks. Captain's coming in here and saying, I agree with Paul on keeping the picks and we need our early picks. So not to beat up on you, Phil. Didn't want to do that, but I know that there's lots of thought going into this draft and a lot of different ideas floating out there. It's not a crazy idea. It just happens to be, at least I think at this point where everyone's at, I think we're valuing our picks over what Loveland may possibly be, and that might flip as we move on. Kenny, I'll go back to our game room here. I know that we weren't maybe completely finished up here because we got you.
Yeah.
Or we got me.
No, you're up first, my friend.
Oh my goodness. So me, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to just go out there and I'm going to hope that the Commanders are wanting to pair up a nice one of these nice tight ends that we're talking about with their future quarterback and who they have in Mr. Jaden Daniels. And thus Zach Ertz becomes a free agent out there on the market, which he is. This is a guy that I know has been around forever, but last year, 66 receptions, 7 touchdowns, and you're talking about that catch percentage. How about 72.5%? This is a guy that absolutely adds a weapon for at least 1 year for Bo Nix. And it still allows us to go out there and find one of these other tight ends deep in the draft class. Like my good friend Trevor was just saying, don't expect a tight end to come in there and light on fire in the first year. It takes them a couple years. We don't have to push anybody with Zach Ertz there in the first year. I think it's a great way to do it. I'm going to sign him up to a $3.25 million contract. That's a $250,000 boost over last year that he got with the Commanders. And that's how I, fix up the game room. And quite honestly, it might be a rickety old jukebox, but it's the best sounding jukebox with the best music in it. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with that with Zach Ertz.
Love it. I'm going a little combo here. So I'm going, budget's getting, near the end here, looking at my budget. I need a pool table for my game room. And I'm going to go with the classic pool table, and try and get a little deal on one. I'm going to go Mike Gesicki. I think you can get him for $3 to $4 million range. I thought he was very underrated there in the Bengals. The Bengals used him. I know Trevor mentioned earlier about his blocking, but hey, you had blockers last year in the tight end room, and what was it? The worst tight end room in football. So I want a guy who's receiving first tight end to bring in here, and on third downs when we need the block, he'll be third and short. Gesicki is on the bench, and you bring the blocking tight end in. But the other name I'm bringing in, Keith, my entertainment center. Bo Nix is young. He's got a lot of young friends. You're going to want to play Madden and all these games, PlayStation, Xbox, get a nice, subwoofer in for the room, and get me that guy in University of Miami that's climbing up the boards big time, and that's Elijah Arroyo in the second round. Find a way to get him if he slips to you, and there's possibly your future tight end for the next 5 to 7 years minimum with Bo Nix's offense. So that entertainment center going to be a big name. Get it at a good deal. Friend of his, maybe works for the stereo company and gets him the deal of the century with Elijah Arroyo. So give me Gesicki for the pool table, Arroyo for the entertainment center.
Love it, buddy. I want to get to this one. Michael Ronquillo jumping in and saying, last week's show, I mentioned tight end Mason Taylor. Trevor and I finally agreed to the pick.
I've been high on him Trevor. For a couple weeks too. I've been high on him a couple weeks too. Kenny can allude to this. I like Mason Taylor and like everything that he the family he comes from, and I think that he'll be a really good player in the NFL, and I think he fits what that possible Joker role that Sean Payton's looking for in a tight end.
Fair enough. They're on the same page though, man. That's always good to see, man. The posse, Trevor, the posse, Keith, the posse, Kenny. It's always good when we get someone on our side and agreeing with us and saying, you know what, I'm in similar mind. I'm of similar ilk. I like what you're doing there. And now Michael Ronquillo, Trevor, lockstep with one Mason Taylor, at least at this point. So, all right, Kenny.
Paul actually really loved the music in the jukebox. He said, Ertz, so good.
Yeah.
He loves that music in the jukebox that you got lined up for your parties there.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it.
All right. So we're getting close to the hour here. We got one. We saved the best for last. We all know summertimes, you want to go to, your friend's house if they got a pool, families who have a pool. Well, Bo is definitely going to have a nice pool area, and he wants to make a huge upgrade here. This is, we call the big splash. So how are you going to upgrade the pool area? I'll go first. I'll put mine in and I'll explain what we're doing here. As you see, there's some big names up there. My big name is Garrett Wilson. Now, this is what it's going to cost, Posse. And I'll finish and then you give me your thoughts. You're going to have to give up number 20. Garrett Wilson, Keith and I were speaking yesterday, still on his rookie contract, making $4.5 million. The Jets just released Aaron Rodgers. Jets are also picking, I believe, 7 or 8. Off the top of my head, I don't. It's one of those two. You give them number 20. Now maybe you can flip number 20 if you're the Jets to number 1 or number 2 and go get your quarterback of the future, hopefully, in Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. In return, you get Garrett Wilson. You got to give up number 1. Garrett Wilson been in the league 3 years, 24 years old. There's your number 1 wide receiver. And last but not least, 3 years in the league, Zach Wilson is rookie year, almost 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns, I believe, top of my head. Year 2, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Mixture of quarterbacks, around 1,100 yards. Again, 4 to 5 touchdowns. This past year with Aaron Rodgers having a terrible year, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Makes sense. Assistant general manager is now the general manager from Denver. They're going to have ties. You may see some former Broncos go to Denver. I'm sure if Garrett Wilson is available, Denver's getting the first call. That's going to be my tiki bar with chairs and full bar. Garrett Wilson right there behind Bo with the wood in his hand, building that tiki bar. Let's go. That's going to be my pool area, big splash, where to invite everybody over to home Bronco games to see this guy in years to come.
I'm going to throw this one at you before we get off of this one, because this only really goes for you. Trade Sutton for Wilson in a third, trying to maybe keep that number 20 pick, says Paul Schaefer over on YouTube. What are your thoughts on that? Your idea of how to get one Garrett Wilson versus Paul's idea on how to get one Garrett Wilson.
That's a great one, Paul. I would not if I'm the Jets. Now, I also saw a trade offer out there, hypothetical, people saying a second and a third could get it done. I would do Sutton in a second if I was the Jets. It would probably cost me Sutton in a second. And then in the second or third round, you go replace your wide receiver, like Trevor and Keith had wide receivers. Trevor had the kid from Tennessee. You can replace Sutton, but you get your number 1 wide receiver for many years because you re-sign him next year. You get him signed quickly. At 24 years old, you got a receiver for the next 5-6 years.
There you go, buddy.
That's my big splash. I'm going to go to Keith next. I see Keith has a nice one on there for everybody.
Yeah, I think I was trying to go for the most popular contractor and try to make everyone a little bit happier here. By the way, Paul says Tiki Bar, let's Bo. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that big splash. I'm taking the number 20 pick, the number 51 pick, and the number 193 pick in this here draft. I'm shipping it off. I'm going to make sure I get my guy. I'm getting it lined up this trade with the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to give me the number 11 pick, or they're going to give me a number 189 pick. Gets me a little bit of an upgrade and trading that 193 pick to them. And with the number 11 pick, I'm jumping in front of the Dallas Cowboys to make sure that I get one Ashton Genty. And now behind Drew Dahlman and that fantastic offensive line I put together, starting off at the very beginning, I've got Ashton Genty that's going to be running down the throat of every single AFC West team. That's my diving board for my pool. Now I can go out there. I'm going to make a big old splash. I'm coming in there with a cannonball, baby. And the cannonball's name is Aston Genty. That's my upgrade.
I'm even going to throw in the big slide for you there, Keith, for the and maybe a little waterfall in there too. If you get Aston Genty, you get all three of those in the same deal. I like that. Trevor, you got one? This one on the list there. If you want to go different, because
no, I'm just gonna go with all the guys that I have in total. I'm gonna go with Mason Taylor. I'm gonna go with Henderson. These big splashes are great, guys, but we have to remember big splashes don't win games all the time. You have to, because with Garrett Wilson, for me, I disagree with a little bit with the asking price. If you're the Jets, why are you giving up Garrett Wilson if Aaron Rodgers is out the door? I mean, I think they're gonna ask 2 first-round picks or first-round pick plus to get Garrett Wilson. Aston Genty. Love Aston Genty, but that's a big price to give up for running back, and you're giving up picks down the board. For me, I'm just going to go with, and this might be a little boring, I'm going to go with Mason Taylor. I'm going to go with Henderson, and I'm going to go, with Rico Dowdle. Because the small signings for the Denver Broncos, that's what works for this team. The big splashy signings don't always work. We've seen that with Tennessee Titans last year. How much money did they spend? They had the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I know it's a quarterback situation, but usually when you're spending big money, it doesn't always work out. You don't win games in the offseason. You win games in the regular season and make the strategic, smart moves to get you there. And that's what I think the Denver Broncos are going to continue to do, be strategic, be smart with their money and their assets, and they're going to get this team back on track going forward for Bo Nix.
Trevor's got the Keith. Trevor's got he didn't invest much in the pool area, just going with basic noodles and the tire tubes, as opposed to Keith getting flashy with the accessories and me with a whole tiki bar. Just messing with you, Trevor. It was good. That was good take on that too, going with those. And those 3 would definitely, 2 of those 3 or all 3 of those would definitely help the Broncos out for sure. All right, boys. That was and Posse. That was our little take on how to fix the offense. A little spin, twist, unique. Hope you all liked it. If you want to throw a vote on there, who you're hiring as your contractor, feel free. I think we all did well, so I think we're all in the running. We'll see who gets hired. But great job, guys, the Posse.
Kenny, fantastic, man. I love the thoughts that go into this. It made me really think, especially. Oh, by the way, I gotta admit, I am the one contractor that I know went over budget. I had to go to the ownership and say, can you float another 2.5 million for me to make this work? So we're on to rework some contracts, just a wee bit in order to get in underneath my underneath the budget or get my everything on my list that I had there. But I guess Trevor kind of did a final plea for him, and he's getting Phil McLaughlin's vote. I want to get a final plea in. I think, quite honestly, when you start looking at solidifying what absolutely needs to be solidified, the trenches, and I go out there and I get that center that's going to be here for a long, long time and pair him up with an offensive line that was already very dominant. You have Aston Genty now running behind one of the best offensive lines. You've added Zach Ertz out there as a formidable tight end target. I mean, the pieces and parts that I feel like that I've put together, it really sets us up for the future quite well. And so that's my little plea there. Plus, heck, I know that Miles Sanders isn't the biggest upgrade for our running back room, but this is a guy that is very good out of the backfield with his hands, as well as being a running back, and that kind of fits that little bit of a joker role. So that's my plea for the Maestro construction to get a vote here.
And real quick, Stepfather's plea is we went for the positions of need. And position of need, you need a huge grade at running back, Jones over Williams. I'm going to get rid of the old chairs in Jaleel McLaughlin and going to say thank you for your time with Denver. I'm bringing in a rookie in Ollie Gordon or somebody else in that lines if they're there. But we'll go with Ollie Gordon. Total upgrade of the game room because you need tight ends, and I'm taking a veteran and a rookie there. And the big splash, why not take a chance? See if you can get Garrett Wilson again, a true number 1 wide receiver, costing in a rookie contract. And my last plea on that is, general manager, Jets may need a quarterback. You're not going to get a quarterback at 7, most likely. So you try and move up to 1 or 2, and you give 2 first-round picks in return.
Hey, Kenny, maybe we should offer Zach Wilson as a kicker.
Only if you can resign him.
there's our last desperate pleas from stepfathers and maestros, but Rocket Man's got to vote. And anyone else who wants to throw a vote in, please do. Even when we go off the air, please comment. We'll read them and we'll get those results out to everybody.
Oh, boys, I didn't even get my last plea, and that was just the one pick. That was just a couple of picks in there. I didn't even get my whole list.
Hey, final plea, Trevor. Jeez, man, give him his final plea. Go run, Trevor, run.
So I will say this: I got all those weapons for Bo Nix, and I spent $19 million. We had a $20 million budget, and I didn't even talk about pick 20 yet. I got all those weapons, and we still haven't even talked about pick 20. You guys want to trade first-round pick for Garrett Wilson, or trade first-round pick for Ashton Jeanty? I was still able to get the weapons for Bo Nix and still be able to have the flexibility to trade back or get a interior defensive lineman. So I like the veterans. They're not splashy for me. I like the rookies. They have a lot of upside. You have Austin Hoopers who can be able to be your starting tight end. Mason Taylor don't have to step in right away, and he can learn from him. Nick Akine, Westbrook Akine, he's a guy, but he's a guy who can block. He's a guy who can be a weapon for Bo Nix, but he's not going to go and take over for Troy Franklin. Still able to these younger guys still be able to grow in this offense. Rico Dowdle, not a big name, but again, go look at some of his film with the Dallas Cowboys, and you will fall for this guy. I think he's not being talked about enough. Aaron Jones, there's injury issues with him. He's getting older. Rico Dowdle's 26 years old. And he's not going to cost an arm and a leg to get. He's going to, it's going to be pricey, but it's not going to be too pricey for this Denver Broncos offense and for this team. So, again, you guys had a great list, and I love those names. I love Jeanty. I love what Garrett Wilson can do. I just think those guys are going to get a little expensive, and Jeanty could possibly go even higher, Keith, than even just right before the Dallas Cowboys. Could possibly talk about the Las Vegas Raiders taking him at pick 6. Hopefully that's not the case, but no, you guys made a lot of great points too, and love doing this, and a lot of credit to Kenny for coming up with this great idea. Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, we've been doing a little bit of overtime episodes. We're a little bit long tonight, man. Like I said, fantastic episode from the Super Bowl that had most of us all celebrating as the Kansas City Chiefs went down. And went down hard. Kenny had a hard time celebrating too much, being also a Giants fan and rooting for those Eagles. Possibilities of what's to come now that the AFC West might be a little bit more open. And then another fantastic segment, Kenny, always bringing new ideas, fixing up Bo Nix's house, trying to put a budget on it, trying to find multiple pieces and parts. And as we fix up this house, it was a fantastic little segment that we had there. You knocked it out of the park, buddy. And I'm going to start with you, man, as we get some final goodbyes and start getting out of here.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Trevor. Posse, too many to list, but I recognize you all out there, and I don't want to name you all, because I definitely will leave somebody out. I don't want you getting offended, but I know you were all there. There was a lot of you. I hope you like these segments. If you want us to do more of these, let us know in the comments, because I'll come up with some ideas. Keith and Trevor also come up with amazing ideas. If you like these type of segments, we can come up with one of these each week and put a unique twist on it. Just let us know, and anything we can do to improve us, we like your input as well. So thank you, everybody. We'll see everybody Friday. Trevor and not Friday. I'll let Keith take over on that, because Friday's Valentine's Day. I'm jumping the gun. Check us out tomorrow at K&K Sports Show, my other podcast. Tomorrow night we're doing some NFL and NBA talk. But Kurt, let's talk Broncos. 10 p.m. Mountain Time brings his East Coast unique style to the Broncos podcast. So he's going to be wound up about the Chiefs. I will tell you that much, everybody. So go check him out tomorrow at K&K Sports Show, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain Time.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. Vote comes in already for what we should be doing next, since this is such a hit.
Okay.
And Michael's doing it with 100 stars as well. So I guess we
Thank
need
you,
to pay a
Michael.
little bit of attention to it. He wants the defense next.
Sure. We got a lot of other rooms that we didn't mention that need fixing. So yeah, the defensive side might be Vance Joseph getting a remodel.
There you go. There you go. And
We'll figure it out, Michael. We'll get it going for you.
Captain's coming in over on YouTube saying we want a 2-story house. So yeah, makes sense, man. Maybe a 3-story if we included special teams, or at least a dugout basement. Phil McLaughlin, great fun show tonight. I need some remodeling done.
Thank you, Phil.
I will be calling, says Phil McLaughlin. So we passed as contractors. I didn't even have to show my license. That's not too bad.
That's hats off to you guys.
Trevor, let's get some final thoughts and some goodbyes from you as well, sir.
Yeah, no, guys, I mean, I get an awesome show and just awesome agenda, Kenny. Love it. And can't wait to do the defense side of the ball. This is just a lot of early speculation of stuff that could go on. We're going to be doing a lot of different lists and whatnot throughout the offseason as we get deeper. So I hope everybody enjoyed the list, and drop your vote down, right after the show. If you're listening after the fact, we'd love to see the feedback, and hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. And again, guys, you guys deserve the round of applause. You guys did, had a fantastic list as well. So I'm glad to be on the show with you guys, and love the posse. So I hope everybody has a great week, and thank you again, Kenny. As always, go Broncos.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, always go Broncos. And Kenny's putting together a great segment. We had a fantastic show. You guys put a lot of effort into it. I appreciate everything that's been put in. It's not easy to go through all these exercises, but it really pays off when we come on here and we have some great ideas and thoughts. The posse just absolutely blowing it up this evening, coming in here, your ideas, your thoughts, your votes. But at this point, Trevor's leading it, with the leading vote getter. And as far as our construction team is considered, Phil McLaughlin did drop 50 stars when he'll be calling for his remodel as well. So thank you very much, Phil. Last thing, I guess, again, this is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. I'll just go ahead and make my plea. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. We are offered on every single platform I can really think of. Whether we're over on Facebook, whether we're on YouTube, whether you want to check out our fantastic website, RockyMountainSN.com, whether you want to take us on the go with Apple or Spotify, please, if you're brand new, make sure that you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It means a ton to us. We've been growing and growing. We've been here year after year. We've been getting better and better. And it's all because of you and the interactions that we have. You guys on board, the posse on board, sky's the limit. Can't wait for the future episodes as we go through this off season, because, man, this is what it's all about. This is where we build our team. Can't wait for you guys all to go along for the ride. Well, and with that, man, we went, like I said, major overtime. Appreciate everyone coming along for the ride. That being said, we get out of here one way only. If you've been around, you got to keep your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next time, we're going to get out of here. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you on Friday, everybody. Good night.